Good morning. There comes a moment in life when you stop asking for permission to be great. You stop waiting for the stars to align for the perfect moment for somebody to say you're ready. Because deep down, you already know. Say it with me. I can, I will, I must. Those aren't just words. That's a declaration. That's a contract between you and your destiny. That's the fire you need when the world tells you no. When the odds are stacked, when the pain feels heavier than your dreams. Let me tell you something. Greatness doesn't ask if you're comfortable. Success doesn't care about your excuses. And life is not going to hand you your future on a silver platter. So you've got to fight for it. You've got to wake up every morning with a made-up mind saying, I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how many times I've failed. I can do this. I will do this. I must do this. You might be facing something right now that feels bigger than you, a challenge, a setback, a betrayal, a diagnosis, a loss. But I promise you that thing didn't come to break you. It came to build you. It came to show you just how strong you really are. You're not a mistake. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're powerful. You're capable. You're chosen. The road to success, it's not a straight line. It's not always pretty. It's not about who's the smartest or who's the fastest. It's about who refuses to quit. Who gets up one more time than they fall. Say it again. I can, I will, I must. Because when you say that, when you believe that, you activate something inside. You activate that second wind, that grit, that grind, that warrior inside you who says, I didn't come this far to give up now. You've got dreams to chase. You've got people counting on you. You've got a purpose that's bigger than your pain, bigger than your fear, bigger than any doubt. So today, this moment, draw your line in the sand. Enough waiting, enough doubting, enough shrinking to fit someone else's idea of what you can't do. This is your time, your moment, your season. I can, I will, I must. Every dream you've ever held in your heart, every goal you've whispered to yourself late at night, every vision that excites your spirit and scares your mind at the same time, none of it is waiting for someone to give you the green light. Success doesn't knock gently. It doesn't show up politely with an invitation and a smile. It doesn't sit patiently at your doorstep hoping you'll eventually be ready. It moves fast, it moves fierce, and it moves with or without you. The people who catch it are not the ones sitting around waiting for signs. They're the ones who decide. The ones who act, the ones who move, even when they don't have all the answers. There are too many people out here waiting to feel confident, waiting for approval, waiting for someone to come along and say, yes, now is your time. But here's the truth. If you're waiting for someone else to validate your worth, you'll be waiting your whole life. The world is full of talent that never turned into success because talent thought it needed permission. But the game changers, the ones who break barriers, set new standards, and change the narrative, they don't wait. They take the shot, even when it's risky, even when it's messy, even when they're scared. Success favors the bold, not the perfect, not the lucky, the bold. The ones who move when it's uncomfortable. The ones who raise their hands when their voice shakes. The ones who invest in their future when they're not even sure how they'll make it work. The ones who step into the arena while others are still in the stands trying to figure out the rules. The truth is, you'll never have all the clarity you want before you begin. That moment you're waiting for, the one where you finally feel ready, it rarely comes. You've got to leap before you feel ready. You've got to act before the fear talks you out of it. When you look at the people who've built extraordinary lives, who've carved out space for themselves in industries, in history, in hearts, you'll see a pattern. At some point, they just went for it. They made the call. They started the business. They showed up to the audition. They spoke up in the meeting. They applied. They launched. They tried. And most of the time, they didn't feel qualified. But they showed up anyway because they understood something deep and powerful. Action changes everything. Action kills fear. Action creates momentum. Action opens doors that preparation alone never could. You can plan all day, study every angle, analyze every scenario, but none of it matters until you move. Until you step into the fire and test your belief against the weight of reality. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to trust yourself enough to begin. to take the first step and then the next. Because success responds to movement, not hesitation. It responds to energy, not intention. You can want it with all your heart, but if you're not willing to chase it with your feet, your hands, your voice, your time, your sweat, then wanting it isn't enough. There's a world full of people who are qualified but paralyzed. Smart, capable, talented people who sit on the sidelines because they're afraid to look foolish. They don't want to fail. They don't want to be seen struggling. But here's the deal. Struggle is part of it. Stumbling is part of it. Looking awkward, falling short, getting rejected. That's the tuition you pay for greatness. No one gets a clean ride to the top. You earn your way there by being willing to do what others won't. Show up anyway. You want to rise? You want to lead? You want to be the one who inspires, who delivers, who dominates? Then you've got to stop waiting for the nod. Stop hoping for someone to believe in you. Believe in yourself so deeply, so fiercely, that the world has no choice but to catch up. Take control of the narrative. Say to yourself, I'm not asking anymore, I'm acting. You don't need another seminar. You don't need another opinion poll. You don't need more time to think about it. You need to move. You need to decide that this is the moment right now to stop delaying your destiny. Because the truth is, success is already moving. It's already flowing. It's looking for the ones who are willing to step into the current and swim. Not the ones standing on the edge watching. Not the ones stuck in fear or perfectionism. It's looking for the ones who are willing to make waves, willing to get wet, willing to risk failure for the chance at something more, something bigger, something that matters. You don't need permission. You don't need a title. You don't need a perfect resume. You don't need the full map. You just need hunger. You need drive. You need the audacity to say, why not me? And then act like it. Success doesn't come to the cautious. It comes to the courageous. It comes to those who do, not just those who dream. Pain is not punishment. It's preparation. We grow up thinking that pain is a sign that something is wrong. That if it hurts, we must have made a mistake. That if we're suffering, it must be because we're off track, broken, or being punished for something. But that's not the truth. The truth is, pain is not a signal to stop. It's not a verdict. It's a teacher. It's a sculptor. It's a messenger trying to wake something up inside of you that comfort could never reach. You don't grow in the good times. You grow in the stretch, in the discomfort, in the resistance. You grow when it hurts. Every champion you've ever admired, every successful person you've ever looked up to, every story that's inspired you, dig into it, and you'll find pain. You'll find moments of heartbreak, moments of doubt, betrayal, fear, loneliness, loss, humiliation. Pain is not the opposite of greatness, it's a requirement for it. Because the strongest version of you doesn't come out when things are easy. It comes out when you're tested. When your back is against the wall, when you have to make a decision to either break down or break through. There is no power in a life without struggle. There is no character without challenge. Pain strips away the fluff, the ego, the illusions, and forces you to meet yourself, the real you, not the version you show to the world, but the version that's still standing when everything else has been torn away. That's what pain does. It reveals the warrior in you. It forces you to find out what you're really made of. And once you meet that part of yourself, that raw, real, relentless part, you never go back. When you're in it, when the storm is raging and your mind is screaming for relief, it's easy to think it's unfair to ask why me. But the question is not, why is this happening to me? The real question is, what is this trying to teach me? Because pain always comes with a lesson. Always. Sometimes it's patience, sometimes it's perseverance, sometimes it's how to stand on your own. Sometimes it's how to let go of what's not meant for you. But there is always something, and if you can hold on long enough to learn it, pain will become your ally. Preparation is never comfortable. Think about the process of sharpening a blade. It requires friction, it requires pressure, and it's the same with you. Life will put you through pressure, not to destroy you, but to refine you, to make you sharper, to make you stronger. You're being shaped by what you survived. The fire is not your enemy, it's your forge. You don't walk through it to burn, you walk through it to be transformed. Some of the most painful experiences in your life are going to turn out to be the ones that gave you your voice, your edge, your power. That moment you thought would break you, that was the moment building you. That heartbreak, that rejection, that failure, it was rerouting you, pushing you, molding you, teaching you things you never would have learned in the light. You're not being punished, you're being prepared for something greater. Something your current self wouldn't be able to carry if it weren't for the pressure. And here's the part most people miss. Pain expands your capacity. Every time you survive something that should have taken you out, your threshold grows. What used to shake you becomes small. What used to break you becomes fuel. You start to realize that strength isn't built in moments of ease. It's earned in the moments when you keep moving, even with tears in your eyes, even when the weight feels unbearable, even when no one sees you grinding through the darkness. That's when champions are made. Not on the stage, not on the podium, but in the lonely, silent trenches of pain. You have to learn to stop fearing pain and start understanding it. Stop running from it and start listening to it. Because every painful experience carries a seed of power, of clarity, of transformation. Some of your deepest wisdom is buried inside your most difficult seasons, but you'll never access it if you label every painful moment as punishment. If you keep treating discomfort as something to avoid rather than something to embrace, there's purpose in your pain if you're willing to lean in and look. The most dangerous belief you can have is that struggle means you're not worthy, that suffering is proof you've messed up. No. Struggle is often proof you're on the right track, that you're growing, that you're in motion, that you're stepping outside your comfort zone and into the unknown, where all real transformation happens. People who never struggle are people who never stretch, and people who never stretch never rise. Pain humbles you. It silences the noise and brings you face to face with what matters. It clarifies your values. It reveals who's really in your corner. It makes you appreciate joy more, love harder, live deeper. It shows you how short and precious life is. And when you come out on the other side, you come out not just stronger, but wiser, more compassionate, more focused, more real. You come out as someone who can't be shaken by the small stuff, someone who's been tested and tempered, someone who can now turn around and help others through what you've already conquered. There are levels to you that pain will unlock, levels of resilience, courage, and depth you didn't even know were there. You don't find that through comfort. You don't access that through ease. You find it through the fire, through the climb, through the heartbreak, through the moments that stretch you so far you wonder if you'll ever return. And then you do return, not as the same person, but as the version of you that was meant to lead, meant to build, meant to rise.